Hey beauty, in this episode I talk about some side effects of social media. Before we get into the show, I wanted to remind you that my book is about to be published. So if you want to help me launch my book, go to herholistichealing.com/book to sign up, and I will send you a free digital copy when it's ready. If you're willing to either write me a review on Amazon and or share the book with family and friends, I will send you a free digital copy when it's ready. So sign up at herholistichealing.com/book. With all that being said, let's get into the show. Welcome to Her Holistic Healing. Do you want more energy and less anxiety so that you can do all the things? Are you searching for meal ideas, essential oils, and other holistic treatments? Do you wish you could know which direction to take with your health so that you could finally feel better? Hey, I'm Alexandra. I love Jesus. I'm a wife, mom of 3, and registered nurse with years of experience in clinical research. I also wanted more energy so that I could have more fun and keep up with my growing child. I too was confused about all the different diet and treatment options. I too wanted to wake up every day and feel good, but I felt anxious because I couldn't solve the mystery of my health. Until God showed me that He is the source of true healing. In this podcast, you will learn holistic treatments and Bible truths that will lead you to the peace, joy, and freedom that you have been hoping for. So what do you say we take a break from the mind-numbing humdrum busyness? Let's rest and let God be our healer and helper. Hey beauty, so what is your relationship with social media like? For me, I joined when, I think it was in college, when a bunch of people were joining Facebook. So I was on there for a while, and then, I forgot when, but maybe 2011 or something like that, I completely deleted my Facebook. A few years later, I think in 2016, I came back. I used it for a while, and then I stopped again. I think I stopped the first time because there were so many privacy issues. The second time, it was still the privacy issues, but also Facebook was just so different. Everyone was sharing political stuff and just very controversial things. It was just a weird world to be a part of after I was off of Facebook for so long. So I stopped, and actually I deleted everything from my Facebook, but then I started a new Facebook account just so that I could actually connect with you guys. I actually have an Instagram account that I've never ever mentioned because I'm not a huge fan of Instagram. I will say that I still like Facebook, but just because of the groups that you can join. I've just met some amazing people in Facebook groups. I don't really follow anyone on Facebook though. Like, I don't read people's personal posts. But anyway, I thought that I would do an episode about this because social media can have some pretty bad side effects, right? So the first thing that social media can do to you is it can cause you to have poor performance. Research shows that social media use worsens your ability to multitask. And really, we as women think that we are such great multitaskers. And actually, I mean, we kind of have to be a lot of the times. But actually, when we multitask, we think that we're doing well, but actually our brains were not really made to multitask. I mean, we do so much better when we don't do more than one thing at once. So here are some possible remedies. You can log off of social media whenever you are trying to get a task done quickly. Actually, for me, I don't have the Instagram app or the Facebook app on my phone, so I just log into the web-based version. I no longer have like the Facebook chat on my as an app. So whenever someone tries to talk to me on Facebook, I have to log on to my desktop, just because really I don't trust Facebook and Instagram with my information. So I don't have the apps on my phone. If you have the apps on your phone, if you want to decrease the amount of time that you're on social media, you could actually delete the apps on the weekend, or delete the apps when you're trying to focus. So that's one suggestion. You could log off of social media whenever you're trying to get a task done quickly, or you could not even have the apps on your phone. Another side effect of social media is insomnia. Any kind of light can alter the level of melatonin in your brain and interfere with your quality of sleep. So if you think about it, back in the day before there was electricity, people used candles and things like that. They usually went to bed a lot earlier, but since we have electricity, we have phones, the lighted screen, it interferes with our brains and the level of melatonin. So professionals suggest that you turn off social media and electronics 2 hours before bedtime. Another side effect of social media is that you can lose time. This is obvious, right? Because if we're scrolling through social media, we see something, and then there's a notification on our phone for something else, and then we get a text message. It's just, we lose a lot of time when we're on social media and on our phones, right? So you could set a time limit. For instance, you could say, I'm only going to be on Instagram for 15 minutes. Set your timer, and then once the 15 minutes is done, you put Instagram away. You could turn off social media notifications, or, like I said, remove social media apps from your phone. You could only use social media when you need to. That's basically what I do. I only use it to connect with you guys. I use it because I'm a part of groups. Like I said, I don't have apps on my phone. I use the web-based version and log on when I need to. So really, I don't use it that much. Another side effect of social media is strained relationships. This quote is from the author of the Tech Wise family. I heard him on this was years ago. I heard him on some radio show, Andy Crouch. This is what he says. He says, when you ask teenagers what's the one thing you wish you could change in your relationship with your parents, the most common answer teenagers give to that question is, I wish my parents weren't on their devices so much and would actually listen to me. Isn't that just so sad? I mean, I don't have teenagers yet, but as parents, I can imagine that you might want to spend more time with your kids. You want to connect with them more. Well, according to this Andy Crouch, he says that teenagers want their parents to not be on their devices so much and get off of their phones. I just think it's so sad when we go anywhere, everyone was on their devices, whether it's at the park or just family gatherings. I just think it's sad. And yes, I'm guilty of doing this too. It's just a good reminder, right? When someone is speaking to you, let's look up from our devices and give them our attention, especially if they're kids, right? We don't want to be teaching our kids that we just stare at our phones all the time. We want to teach our kids how to be able to talk to people, to give them eye contact, right? Quality time should be quality time. When spending quality time with loved ones, let's not log on to social media. Another side effect of social media can be anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. Research shows that people that spend more time on social media are more depressed and have lower self-esteem because they start to compare themselves to other friends, quote friends, on social media. So some possible remedies for this. Remember what's real. Everyone posts their pretty pictures on social media. There's AI. There's what's it called? That thing where you you can edit the photo. Photoshop. Things are photoshopped. It's not real. People don't usually air their dirty laundry on social media. Some people do, but Let's remember what's real. Let's focus on the good. Philippians 4:8 says, "Finally, brethren, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good repute, if there is any excellence and if anything worthy of praise, dwell on these things." Depending on who you follow, social media is not the best place to fill your mind with good things, right? I mean, it depends on who you follow, right? So here's some other things you can do if you get anxious or depressed, low self-esteem, etc. because of social media. You can unfollow people that are toxic to you. I don't recommend cutting people off. I feel like in our culture, that's just what people are doing. They're cutting people off. You can actually unfollow someone without unfriending them so that their stuff doesn't show up on your news feed, right? So that's something that you can do before. If you're tempted to log on to social media, just try to do something else that you love to do. Go outside, exercise, plant some flowers, call a friend, meet up with a friend for coffee, play some sports, crochet a blanket for a baby, read, fly a kite, go get your nails done, write in a journal, send a letter by snail mail. You could teach your nephew how to shoot pool, play some music, do a jigsaw puzzle. You could pick up a new hobby. So if you get to a point where you remove the apps off your phone when you're tempted to go on social media, you could challenge yourself. And instead of going on social media, I'm going to go in the backyard for 5 minutes, or I'm going to go for a walk and talk with God. At least if you try to do something else before logging on to social media, that's a step in the right direction, right? Another side effect of social media is addiction. Social media can cause our brains to crave more likes, friends, in quotes, instant responses, and more excitement from social media. So like I said, take breaks from social media. You could take a fast. You could go without it for a day, a week, a month, or a year. You could cut it off completely. You can ask someone to keep you accountable. Tell someone that you want to cut back on your social media use and ask them to keep you accountable. Like I said, you could delete your accounts. I did that for a few years, and I don't use social media that much anymore. Honestly, I do think that my mental health is a lot better because I don't use it. I hardly ever look at it unless it's this Facebook group that I have for you guys or some Facebook groups. I am on Instagram. I post things from this podcast every now and then, but other than that, I hardly ever look at people's stuff. So that's just me. So to recap, here are some things that you can do to avoid the side effects of social media. Log off of social media whenever you're trying to get a task done quickly. You could delete the apps from your phone on the weekends or delete them every now and then, not even have them on your phone. If you're struggling with insomnia, you can turn off social media and all electronics 2 hours before bedtime. You could set a time limit. You can turn off social media notifications, or like I said, remove the apps from your phone. You could only use social media when you need to. Remember that when you're with others, give people eye contact. Quality time should be quality time, not on your phone or on social media. If you're struggling with anxiety, depression, or low self-esteem, remember what's real. Focus on the good. Philippians 4:8. You can unfollow people that are toxic to you. You don't have to unfriend them. You can just unfollow them. Before you log on to social media, do something else that you love to do. Challenge yourself in that way. Do something else. Distract yourself with something else before you log on to social media. Take breaks. Find an accountability buddy. I've said this already, but you can delete your accounts. I just really want to encourage you, if you feel like you have some kind of social media or phone addiction, I really want to encourage you to find accountability a counselor, a mentor, someone to help you with this, because I mean, I think some people are called to these days to have some type of maybe online ministry or online business, and that might be different. But for the most part, I really feel like God wants us to focus on people that are in front of us, like our kids, maybe our parents, our friends, our local church. That's something that I feel like God has been showing me, that to not just encourage you guys like on this podcast, but also to encourage people in my church, people that are on my women's group, people that are right in front of me. I feel like God has put those people in our lives for a reason. So for the most part, we should probably be focusing on those people that are actually within close proximity to us, not people that we barely know, that we're following, or that we hardly talk to. I mean, that's how I feel. Like, it might be different for you, but do you ever miss those days where there was no social media, there were no phones? I remember this was in, what year was this? 2008. I spent a month in Costa Rica. I spent time with 2 different host families, and people didn't really have cell phones. They also didn't have, they didn't have a lot of things, but I loved it there. And it was just so much fun to meet people from all over the world. And whenever we had to meet up, we just had to, like back in the day, we just had to set a time and show up. And there was no texting, there was no calling people on phones. It was just, I just miss those days where it's not so complicated. You don't have to talk to people through 10 different apps and wonder if they got your message, So I guess part of the reason why I did this episode is just maybe that we can bring a little bit of that back, just to connect with people face to face and actually look at people and talk to them without having to look up some funny video or something. That's not bad, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I hope this episode was helpful to you in some way, and I will talk to you guys soon. I'm so glad that you took the time to listen today. If you liked what you heard, will you leave me a review on Apple Podcasts so that this show can reach more people? And if you want to connect with me, go to herholistichealing.com. Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls.
For you is easy and my burden is light.